Hello everyone. I am very happy to welcome you to Wisdom and Success, a place to share knowledge and develop yourself through good books. Today, I would like to introduce to you the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. As we all know, habits can have a positive or negative impact on our lives. Current habits can help you progress, but can also make you go backwards over time. It is not too much to say that if you have the ability to control your habits, you will also control your own life. Think about it. Are you improving every day now, or are you still the same as last year? Building and maintaining habits is not new, and the book Atomic Habits is probably quite familiar to many people. Before reading this book, I had read many other books about how to form habits, some from a psychological perspective or with practical tips. What's special about Atomic Habits is the way the author communicates very logically, practically, and concisely. The core value that I find outstanding is that the author emphasizes that changing yourself means changing your own identity. Instead of just trying to restrain yourself to keep your habits, it's better to change from the inside out. Now, let's explore this extremely useful book together. Live like a bamboo tree. William James, a famous American psychologist, once said, "Sow an action, you will reap a habit. Sow a habit, you will reap a character. Sow a character, you will reap a destiny." Good habits will shape your life, but many times we ignore small changes. We often convince ourselves that big success requires large-scale action. So many people often ignore the value of small improvements every day, and thus procrastinate. A more serious problem is that we easily lose patience because we do not realize the great value of gradual changes. These small things are actually how we create multiplication. The book gives an interesting formula. If you can improve 1% every day for a year, you will become 37 times better. Conversely, if you regress 1% every day for a year, your ability will almost drop to zero. Many people think this is mechanical math, but hopefully you will put that thought aside and verify it for yourself. Until you start making changes, premature conclusions are just excuses. Small changes can create big results, because maintaining habits is the way to change your life for the better. When doing something, we often idealize the action, thinking that the goal is a straight line, because we always want immediate results. But in reality, implementing good habits is a curve. In the early stages of adjusting the habit, you will see this curve initially go down. When you don't see a clear difference, people often get discouraged and wonder if their efforts are worth it. The downward curve is like the valley of disappointment. Many people fall into it and give up halfway. However, you need to believe that once you persist and overcome a certain threshold, the effect will definitely come. This is a common feature of any growth process. The best results often come late. Just like in physics, there is a law of quantity and quality. Quantitative changes to a certain level will transform into qualitative differences. The certain level here is the explosive moment after the accumulation process when implementing the habit. Like a bamboo tree, in the first 5 years, no matter how good the environment is, you hardly see it grow. But after 5 years, like magic, it will grow at a rate of 30 centimeters per day and reach 27 meters in 6 weeks. It turns out that those 5 years are the time for the bamboo tree to accumulate potential energy. During that time, it digs deep into the soil and just waits for the day to grow tall. The deeper it digs, the bigger the tree becomes. How can such a change not be successful? Live like a bamboo tree. Never just aim for the goal. Remember, no matter how small the change is, it is valuable. If you only focus on the goal, you will fail. If you keep looking at the desired result, your spirit will be imprisoned in a narrow mindset. All the potential in any goal contains an assumption that when I achieve the goal, I will be happy. This perspective is like a chain, causing you to delay joy, waiting until you complete the goal to be happy. But when you achieve it, you will not feel truly happy. Sometimes instead, you will feel a strange sense of loss, because now you hope for another milestone. When you focus on a specific goal, Your motivation will be, I must achieve this, and that motivation will push you forward. But when you reach the goal, this source of motivation will be extinguished. That's why many people fall back into their old habits after achieving their goals. Remember that habit formation is not about winning at all costs, but about building a system of habits with a cycle of continuous improvement. So how to build such a system? I will explain more clearly in the next section. But first, stop focusing only on the results when implementing any habit. The best way to stay motivated is to focus on the process, on the present. You don't have to wait to be happy, nor do you have to assume that you can only be satisfied when you succeed. You can be truly happy right now, and during the time you maintain the habit, and this spirit will definitely help you persevere. The secret to maintaining habits is understanding your identity. According to research, behind every action system is a belief system, and behavior that is not consistent with identity will not last long. What does this mean? You need to pay attention to the words identity and belief. Your beliefs and inner identity have a great influence on changing your behavior. Before doing anything, let your beliefs shape who you are. That is, before implementing a habit, you need to determine who you want to become. Your beliefs will determine your behavior. The stronger the belief, the longer the behavior will be maintained. The more repeated the behavior, the more the belief will be reinforced, and the identity will become clearer. That is a sustainable development cycle. It helps you constantly develop and leads you to things that can change your life. For example, if you want to maintain a fitness routine, you need to see yourself as an athlete. If you want to read more to write good books, you need to see yourself as a creator. If you don't know yourself before you act, you will only do it superficially or feel difficult and tired in the process. Therefore, remember that habits reflect who you are. You must understand yourself first, know who you want to become. Then, use your identity beliefs to establish a system of habits that create a happy and growing life. From this perspective, stop labeling yourself or others. An example is that parents often expect their children to be studious and self-disciplined. Whenever they see their children watching TV or playing around, they immediately shout, "Why are you so lazy to study?" Labels like lazy to study, careless, or playful can become a prophecy. If you keep labeling it like that, it can come back and become true. Let's go into the basic logic of habit formation. The book The Power of Habit also mentioned this logic. We need to understand how a habit works before doing it. This is not only knowledge, but also helps to understand the nature of habits. If you don't understand, you will be stuck in forming habits forever. So specifically, what are the 4 steps? They are cue, desire, response, and reward. For example, when you hear the Facebook message bell, that is the cue reminding you. When you hear the bell, you want to know who is texting you. That is desire. Then, you take out your phone to open the message. That is your response. Finally, when you finish reading the message, you know who is looking for you, what they want to say, satisfy your needs. That is reward. Looking back, are most of our daily actions based on these 4 steps? Including all actions such as getting dressed, putting on shoes, turning on the lights, brushing teeth, snacking, etc. So you need to pay attention that once you start doing it, it will be difficult to stop. For example, you tell yourself that you will read 20 pages of a book today, but as soon as you sit down on the sofa, you take out your phone, lie down, turn on the air conditioner. Then open Facebook, then scroll through TikTok, and soon the evening is over. These actions are a chain of habits that have formed in you. It makes you not need to think about anything, just happen automatically. That's why you need to understand the principle of how habits work, so that you can overcome bad habits and build good habits. So what is the right way to act? Next, let's explore the 4 steps to maintaining a habit. The first step is to make things clear. In fact, the strongest sense of humans is vision. It accounts for about 90% of the total body's senses. If you take advantage of seeing, you can completely successfully implement the suggestion stage of the habit. Suppose you want to develop a reading habit, but the books are piled up in a corner of the room and you only see them when you need them. Then how can you maintain this habit? The way to make a habit an essential part of your life is to make it appear regularly in front of you. For example, I often put books in places that are easy to see and easy to reach, such as on the sofa, TV shelf, bedside table, study table, etc. I also carry a small book in my backpack, so that when I have time, I can open it and read it right away. The same principle applies to changing bad habits. Remove the factors that stimulate them. For example, when you tend to crave snacks in the afternoon, especially office workers, instead of buying fast food, sweets or soft drinks, put fruits and nuts in visible, convenient locations. This not only helps you replenish energy, but also keeps you fit and healthy. When you can't see snacks or easily sit and play games, it will be difficult for you to trigger bad habits. Then, the second step is to make things irresistible. There is an important formula to motivate you to practice good habits, which is layering habits and integrating interests. Look at the formula on the screen. Layering habits means that after the current habit, you will practice the habit that needs to be changed. For example, after taking off your work clothes, you will change into sneakers and go to the gym. After finishing your coffee, you will read a book for an hour, etc. And integrating interests means practicing a necessary habit, then doing the habit you like. I also often apply this method because I don't like writing a diary, but I like taking pictures. So every day I take pictures of interesting things and write a few lines with the pictures. It makes my memories more vivid and I maintain both habits comfortably. This is called interest connection in psychology. That is the research of Professor David Bremont, which means using high-frequency behavior to reinforce low-frequency behavior. By doing this, you will make the habit more attractive. If you find it difficult to control your cravings, what should you do? The answer is to take advantage of the power of the group. We have had social instincts since ancient times. Our ancestors could not live alone. No matter the danger or natural disaster, you always need teammates by your side to be safer. In the video book, The Soccer Driver, it is also said that the need to establish close relationships with others is ingrained in our DNA. So use the power of the group to break your bad habit. Join a running group or a class that shares your interests. If you don't show up regularly, you'll likely be called out or kicked out. For some people, to avoid this, they work harder. Now comes the third step. The third step is to make things easier. The main principle is to reduce the difficulty. If you want to go to the gym, don't compare which gym is cheaper or has more equipment. Choose the closest place that is easy for you to get to. Reduce your resistance to action by optimizing your environment. Also, keep the 2-minute rule in mind when starting a habit. You need to know that in life, there are always decisive moments. They make a big difference in your life. The moment you decide to cook or order out, the moment you decide to bike or drive to work, or the moment you decide to scroll on your phone or read a book. These moments are the turning points in your life. A good or bad day often depends on this series of decisive moments. If you accumulate many right moments in a day, it will eventually lead to different results. Therefore, the author recommends that when starting a new habit, the time should not exceed 2 minutes to avoid difficulty in persevering. Instead of forcing yourself to read a book every night before going to bed, start by reading 1 to 2 pages. The 2-minute rule means that no matter what, you have to do the first small step. Maintaining a habit is difficult, but if you start easily, the next actions will come naturally. Small actions are actually very powerful. Believe that when you start doing the right thing, everything will be easier. On the contrary, if you want to quit a bad habit, create obstacles for it. If you can't stop looking at your phone, delete all the apps that waste your time. If you can't quit playing games, make it difficult to open that app. Finally, the step to changing a habit is to make it enjoyable. We must understand that the reason why bad habits are hard to break is because they bring immediate comfort. When playing a game, you can achieve achievements when you pass a level. or eating sweets will satisfy your appetite at that moment. However, our brains often underestimate distant risks, like a frog in slowly boiling water. Bad habits bring immediate pleasure, but the consequences will be very serious later, while good habits do the opposite. So be careful with things that can bring a feeling of comfort quickly. The sooner you ask the question, will it bring long-term benefits? To form a good habit, all you need to do is add a little instant happiness to a habit that is beneficial in the long term. Conversely, add a feeling of discomfort to a bad habit. One of the most effective ways to increase instant gratification is to track your habits. It's simple, just write down a habit tracker and stick it on the wall where you can see it. Mark it as completed each time you successfully complete an action. This is simple, but in fact, it is a process of rewarding yourself, helping you to continuously improve. I want to emphasize two things. First, be determined to persevere rather than give up. No matter what, don't give up, because as long as you persevere, you still have a chance to keep your identity. Remember that giving up twice in a row means you start a bad habit. Second, don't let tracking become your goal. When tracking becomes a goal, it loses its meaning. Suppose the entire company only focuses on KPIs. Employees only try to meet that index. But in reality, they will not be able to work effectively. Similarly, if you just do it for the sake of completing a habit tracker, it will not be valuable. Tracking is just the beginning and a method to form good habits. But do not consider it the ultimate goal. Do not live just to track, and do not live just to focus on the goal. Above 4 important steps to form good habits and eliminate bad habits. The video summarizing the book up to here is enough for me. But I still want to send you some equally important reminders from this book. First, the book emphasizes that creating habits is a daily accumulation, a double rebuilding process, a persistent investment of time. But our time is limited. So how do we know if we have invested in a certain habit? You need to discover your own direction, the area you want to improve and change. The book has given the answer. Do things that you find interesting, but others find boring. The sign that you are suitable for a certain task is not only whether you like it, but whether you can endure the difficulty of that task more easily than others. Others find it difficult, but you find it no problem. Or when doing it, you feel extremely happy. The second thing is not to depend too much on habits. You need to know that habits also have their pitfalls. When something becomes natural, the end result can become normalization. If a person is stuck in a daily routine, everything he does is just repetitive, which can prevent you from making a breakthrough. So how to avoid this situation? Don't expect habits to be a straight line, but expect them to be curves and more curves. To do so, you need to practice intentionally. The highest state of intentional practice is to enter the state of flow. Flow is not a habit, but a state in which you need to focus completely. The best way to form a habit is to put yourself in the state of flow and then master that habit. But the important thing is that you must try to practice intentionally to get better and better and gradually become a master. Finally, we need to constantly reflect and review ourselves. Don't let our identity kidnap us. Previously, I emphasized the importance of personal identity beliefs in forming habits. But if you rely too much on it, when you fail to achieve it, it will make you feel helpless, disappointed, and weak. One last word to summarize today's video. These small habits do not simply add up, but they have a multiplicative relationship, stacking on top of each other, and eventually creating a compound effect, completely changing your life. When forming a new habit, it leads to many other positive changes. Just like me, when I started the habit of reading, my life has undergone many profound changes and greatly affected me. I hope you can find a good starting point in your life. Commit to it, and let your life change dramatically. That is wonderful and trustworthy. May we all find our way in life and use the habit-building system as a tool to make life more meaningful. Thank you for listening. If you find this video useful, please share it with those who need it. Support me by liking it. And don't forget to leave your feelings or thoughts in the comment section so that everyone can learn. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss my latest weekly videos. The link to buy the book to support my channel is in the description. Thank you again. See you in the next video.